Hi, Wake Forest Baptist family. I'm Ed Austin, and today I'd like for us to take a few minutes to think about something that we really can't live without, yet something that all of us have a tendency to take for granted: love. Love is in our conversations all the time. Things like, I love that color, I love that shirt, I love that truck, I love that dog, I love that song. As a matter of fact, these devotionals are shared as part of our church's Love Does campaign. Sadly, between the effects of the coronavirus and the necessary responses to mitigate its impact, the seemingly constant political debates and conflicts, and the tendency to worry more about ourselves than others, love doesn't seem to be easily found these days. We see and hear about so many people being disrespected, mistreated, marginalized, and devalued simply because of their appearance, their political ideas, their opinions that are different from ours, and all sorts of other things that are purely subjective, and not even an inference of love or acceptance is found. For me, fortunately, when I reflect on love and what it means to me, my mind turns immediately to my family: my wife, my sons, my parents, grandparents, extended family, and friends. Inside of that group, I have no doubt that I am loved. I understand that it might not be the same for everyone, but I think everyone can find a way that someone's love has impacted, if not changed, their lives. One of the most influential people in my life was my mom's dad, James Nelson Ludlam, who was one of the most godly people I have ever known. Granddaddy Nelson was born in 1885 and lived a faithful, active, and loving life until being called to his heavenly home in 1989. Yes, I did say 1885 and 1989. My granddaddy lived to be 104 and truly lived his life like he loved every single minute. My mom was one of 6 children, and not long after my grandmom Emily died in 1973, my Uncle James and his family took over the responsibilities of running the family farm, and Granddaddy began what would end up being a 16-year family tour, where he'd stay with one of his children and their families. Sometimes Granddaddy would stay with us a month, sometimes longer, but regardless of how long it was never long enough. He was always so happy. Happy to be alive, happy to walk with God, happy to be with family, happy just to be. I remember clearly shaking my head in awe and surprise one afternoon when I got home from a junior high school baseball practice to find my 93-year-old grandfather raking leaves, humming the Old Rugged Cross and Amazing Grace, simply as happy as anyone could ever be. And he was raking leaves. Man, the stories I could tell about the man that I surely thought had helped God hang the moon and place the stars. I love sharing about him, so don't ask if you don't want me to tell you a long, rambling, and incredibly sentimental story about my granddaddy. Granddaddy was always quick with encouragements, Bible quotes, prayers, and some little phrase that only he could come up with. We always had some sort of running jokes and fun little things between us, and one of his favorite subjects was to talk about love. One of my favorite ongoing conversations, and the one that's so relevant today, for me and for all of us, is what he used to say to me about love. It would start with me asking a simple question: Granddaddy, do you love me? He would smile, chuckle to himself, and then look at me and say, if you and your people loved me and my people, like me and my people love you and your people, there never would be so much love amongst people, since people was people. What a perspective. Granddaddy's message to me was the same message that we find in John 13:35, in which tells us that Jesus said, "All people will know that you are my followers if you love each other." In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, we're told that until we are with God face to face, We have three things to lead us to knowing Him as He knows us: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these? Love. I'm not sure that anyone's ever assigned homework at the end of one of these devotionals, but as it's been said so often, we are who we are at a minimum because of where we come from. My dad was a pastor and my mom was a teacher, so I guess it's just me being the product of my environment to assign homework. I would like for you to take the opportunity to read the 1 Corinthians chapter 13 translation that's found in the Message Bible. If we're truly diligent and seeking a relationship with God, it can't be done without love. Love. It's a way of life. Have a great day. And like my granddaddy, be sure and share your love. Thanks.